I've been getting 400 million thousand questions about fat burning. So I did another video here, I had to, on fat burning, and I want to supplement how you burn fat with a recent trial that showed what works and what doesn't. What are the natural supplements that burn fat as of August, today, 2020-24, by the evidence in human clinical trials, and what is the general thing that we can do to burn more fat in terms of manipulating endocrinology or our hormones, right? And so a recent trial involving 12 runners, okay, these are people that ran at least 5 miles 3 days per week, so 15 miles a week. They took them and they said, okay, look, let's give them different amounts of calories every day. And we'll even make the meal plan for them. We'll make the meals, right? So they controlled exactly what they ate. And their meals consisted of 50% carbs, 30% fat, and 20% protein. One of the groups had 2,400 calories a day. Another one, it was around 1,600 calories. And the other one was 800 calories. So they term this as high energy availability, low energy availability, and very low energy availability. So what is energy availability? Well, energy availability is just in simple the difference between the amount of calories you eat and the amount that you expend with exercise or just energy expenditure throughout the day. And then whatever is left over, that is your energy availability that your body has in the form of calories to undergo proper physiological functioning to support physiology in your body, which is just, by definition, the normal functioning of the body and body parts of bodily systems, right? If you were curious, we never said that here at When Wellness. So what did the results show in these people that had very low energy availability versus high, And again, these people are running a decent amount, as we know. Very low energy availability showed something extremely important in regards to fat burning. It showed no additional fat burning. How is that? And I can't wait to talk about this. It showed no additional fat burning. It actually showed lower testosterone levels, which higher testosterone levels correlate to greater amounts of fat burning and muscle growth and improvements in body composition, albeit they lost weight. So here we have it. Less calories makes you lose weight. Sure. Eat less than you burn, calories in, calories out principle, you will lose weight. That's for sure. What it doesn't take into account is body composition. It doesn't take into account, does a calorie deficit, how much of your body weight is muscle mass and how much is fat mass. And when everybody wants to lose weight, I hate that term because it's not really what we're looking for. They want to lose fat. They want to lose fat. Whether they want to build more muscle or not, they want to lose fat. So how do you naturally lose fat? Aside from this trial, we know that it's not just lowering the amount of calories that we eat in a day. Number one thing you think of, and we've done video on this on When Wellness before, lower your insulin levels. If you have low to inactive insulin, then you will be in fat burning mode. In short, the action of insulin is to tell your cells to absorb sugar. There's sugar in the blood, you eat sugar, insulin goes up, they burn the sugar for energy, they don't burn fat for energy. Your body starts to make more fat, make more cholesterol. And so people with high sugar diet can even have clogged arteries because they're making a lot of cholesterol in their liver because they're eating a lot of sugar, okay? Now when you eat fat, you're burning fat, okay? And you're producing sugar in the liver, which is good. You're burning fat. Eat fat, burn fat, okay? Have no food for a long enough time, burn fat, and that happens with intermittent fasting, right? And so what are all the ways we can lower insulin? What are all the ways we can lower insulin without getting too deep in any of those or getting off topic here? Which we could, because we love this stuff, and I could rant about this forever. 5 things lowering insulin: exercise, intermittent fasting, more protein, fiber, and fat. Exercise, intermittent fasting, more protein, fiber, and fat. Intermittent fasting lowers your insulin levels, especially if you got at least 16 hours. Women shouldn't fast for more than 16 hours. I was having this conversation with a beautiful lady yesterday. If you see this, I don't even think you have Instagram. Maybe I'll send it to you. But, you know, you are lowering your insulin when you're fasting for a certain period of time, and that fat burning is going on, that getting into ketosis, roasting, aside from boosting testosterone and growth hormone levels, improving insulin sensitivity in general, reducing inflammation, promoting autophagy and BDNF, just in terms of fasting and fat burning, I should say, fasting, okay? So that's one. It's keeping insulin levels low for a long time. Again, this is how to lower insulin. We talk about exercise. Well, you're expending a lot of energy. You're using up your sugar and you're using it up. So then it's gonna improve your insulin sensitivity in general, okay? Especially intense exercise and aerobic exercise. And that means, when you have sugar in your blood, the insulin acts more efficiently and the insulin levels will drop quicker after you eat. How long does it typically take to lower insulin levels after you eat, by the way? Well, they'll typically drop 2 hours after you ate your meal. They'll drop to pre-meal levels. Okay, so know that. So if you eat something, then typically 2 hours later, it's different for different compositions of food and this and that, you're back to your baseline insulin before you ate. Okay, so that means you're not in fat burning mode for all that time. So Shane, I should stop eating? Hell no. We just said low calorie intake or not eating things does not make you burn more fat. Okay, so that's got to be drive home point here. We have those two things: exercise, fasting. What about fiber? Well, fiber, interestingly, is going to slow the absorption of carbs. Okay, so this means your insulin won't be spiked as much when you have fiber with the sugar, whereas you just have that orange juice alone, right? And that's just pure sugar. Your insulin is getting jacked up. There's no fiber with it to slow down, to make that gel-like substance going through your intestines. Whereas if you have the whole orange, you have that extra pulp, if you will, that is that gel-like substance forming in your intestines and slowing down the absorption of the sugar. So insulin doesn't have to go crazy. It's being absorbed slower, more efficiently, right? And again, so that means that your insulin is going to work better over time, and you could get into fat burning mode quicker after eating, and just improving insulin sensitivity is good for proper physiological functioning and avoiding diseases, especially things like type 2 diabetes, right? So we have fiber. Now another thing fiber does, it feeds your gut bacteria. Feeding my gut bacteria, that's good for my gut. If it's good for your gut, it's probably good for your metabolism too, my friend, because feeding your gut bacteria is important with that fiber, because they eat it and then they produce short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, like butyrate, acetate, caproic acid, valeric acid. Names don't matter at all. You probably hear butyrate or butyric acid all the time, but they control your metabolism. They regulate your appetite, fat storage, rates of muscle growth, not to mention immune function and mood and many other things. So that means if you have a healthy gut microbiome and they're functioning properly, which you're feeding with the fiber here, it's going to help you to be more efficient in burning fat throughout the rest of your days, okay? So we said exercise, we said fasting, we said fiber, eating fat. We said promotes fat burning because your insulin is lower and your body is able to use what you're eating for energy, that's fat, and when it runs out of that, it's going to start to use more fat, right? This is not to say if you eat copious amounts of fat that you're going to be through fat burning all the time, that you're going to be going into your fat stores, right? Because if you have tons of fat, your body has to do something with that, and that excess fat it'll store for energy, right? But it doesn't mean you should be counting your fat. It doesn't mean you should be counting calories, right? Your weight doesn't matter, your BMI doesn't matter, the amount of calories is not as important, right? It's about doing these things to lower insulin, okay? So if you eat the fat with the food, for example, you're getting healthy fats in fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, trout, sardines, anchovies, stuff like that. Well, that's accompanied with protein. Bada bing, bada boom. They're both helping you to burn fat. And the ratio of fat to the protein is normal and natural. So if you make an effort to eat tons of extra fat, maybe that won't help you, but fat does promote lower insulin levels and fat burning. As insulin doesn't have any effect on fat, it has an effect on sugar. We should say sugar makes your insulin go up, right? More so. Okay, so we have exercise, fasting, we have fiber, we have fat, protein. So protein's a big one. And as we talk about protein here, we're going to begin the discussion on what are the top natural supplements as of 2024 for burning fat. What's actually true, what's not. There's a million supplements out there that promote fat burning, and I'll tell you right now, 99.9% of them are bullshit. It's true, they are, right? So Number one is protein. Number one is protein, and protein leaves you feeling fuller than eating other macronutrients, right? So you feel fuller, you're less likely to overeat, especially if you have protein additionally right before your meal. You're less likely to overeat. So making you less likely to overeat, at least, but you said calories don't matter. Overeating shit that isn't benefiting your metabolism, okay? Preventing that is one way that protein helps you to burn fat. Another is it has a higher thermic effect from food. And that just means it takes more energy for you to digest or break down protein than it does for your body to digest or break down fats or carbs. Okay, albeit that's kind of a minimal effect. That's not, yeah, I'd say that's like a half reason that protein helps you to burn more fat. But over time, that could make some difference, and it could be, helpful. And it's definitely a plus, more of like a cherry on top, right? Now, one of the major ways it does so is it makes you build more muscle mass, right? So if we increase muscle mass, if we have a larger machine, how much fuel does that machine need as compared to a smaller, less, rapidly or demanding, whether it's metabolic or fuel demand machine, right? Well, obviously you're gonna have to use more energy to maintain that machine. So if you're building muscle by having more protein and exercising, of course, doing resistance training, but having more protein, those muscles are gonna have a higher metabolic demand all day, right? So they're gonna need to eat. And so just to sustain them, you're gonna need energy, okay? And that will help you to dive into fat stores and utilize fat, at least if that insulin is inactive, right? Those are the major three mechanisms that protein promotes fat burning. So how much protein to have in a day? Well, if you're somebody like me, or a lot of you that are watching this video, and you're somebody that, works out even relatively consistently, and you're of a healthy weight already, then 80 to 120% of your body weight in grams, or 0.68 to 1.23 grams per pound of body weight, I just say around 80 to 120%, it's easy to remember than those type of numbers, is what Examine recommends per day for you to be in optimal fat burning capacity, right? Optimal levels of protein for fat burning, right? And so I say 100 to 120%. And here's why. As somebody works out and they get in better shape, or somebody just gets in better shape in general, right? Then if that can happen to you really without working out, then God bless you, right? We're all jealous of you. Then you're going to need more protein to sustain the new muscle mass that you've gotten. And so that means to increase your resting metabolic rate and to get that same beneficial effect from having more protein to promote fat burning, you're going to have to be towards the higher end of that range, that 100 to 120% of your body weight in grams. Bodybuilders can have up to 150% of their body weight in grams, and it shows additional benefit from muscle building, right? And so there's some studies out there that say, less, it didn't show additional benefit when they had more and this and that. This is Examine, and they say, 100 to 120%. So my golden number that I say for you guys, if you're like me or somewhat similar and you're healthy weight and you work out and you've been growing and increasing your strength and performance and whatever, and your body composition has been improving, 120%. Get 120% of your body weight in grams of protein. What if you're obese or overweight, right? These people, they recommend less. And there's a really important reason here. We said calories in, calories out is not important for body composition as much, right? But look, it doesn't take into account fat burning or muscle growth, right? But look, if somebody weighs 350 pounds, they have to lose mass, okay? They have to lose mass. Their goal isn't right now to build a lot of muscle. We'd love to maintain muscle mass, and that's why they're gonna have a certain amount of protein regardless, never go really low, right? But if they don't build as much muscle and they just lose a lot of weight and they lose fat, then that's fine. And so they recommend anywhere from 55% to 70% of your body weight in grams of protein per day if you're overweight or obese, to promote fat burning. And again, this principle goes the same, where if your body composition is improving, now you want to start to have more and more and more. You're getting closer to that category of somebody that's of a healthy weight, and they should be getting up to the 100 to 120% of their body weight in grams. So that amount should be raising over time as your body composition improves. But as for the beginning of your fat loss journey, I said, careful to say that instead of weight loss, it's going to be important that you're at least having the 55 to 70% of your body weight in grams of protein. So protein, number one, that's why it burns fat, helps you at least burn fat, and that's how much you should have. What are the other two? We only got two more that actually promote fat burning. Protein's primary option, number one proven safety, effectiveness for burning fat. So the primary option is replicated results over and over in trials. Number 2 and 3 are pretty much equal, and they're called secondary options. So there's a lot of strong evidence with them, but protein is definitely number 1. We have caffeine and green tea. Green tea got caffeine. Ain't that the same shit? Green tea is caffeine. Well, let's talk about caffeine. There's something unique in green tea, and that's EGCG, and we're going to talk about that in a second here. But caffeine, how does caffeine make you burn more fat? Well, it boosts your metabolism, increases heat expenditure, energy expenditure in general, helps you to break down triglycerides or fat molecules, right? And so, fat cells, and those are obviously things that will naturally do. But really, most of caffeine's fat burning effect is attributed to the inhibition of what we call phosphodiesterases. The fuck is that, right? Phosphodiesterase is an enzyme that helps to break down cyclic AMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate, so adenosine bound to 1-phosphate in its cyclic form. It breaks it down so that it's just adenosine monophosphate. It takes it out of its cyclic form. Why does that matter? Well, when it's in its cyclic form, that's increasing the release of epinephrine or adrenaline. When we have more epinephrine or adrenaline being released, our metabolic rate goes up, meaning we're going to be burning more fat. How much caffeine is required to inhibit these phosphodiesterases to maintain higher levels of epinephrine? That would be 1.36 milligrams per pound of body weight. And that's why in Super U, I have 324.5 milligrams of caffeine in the form of dicaffeine malate, 433 milligrams, 75% caffeine. The rest is malic acid, right? It's in the energy cycle in your mitochondria. But somebody who's 239 pounds will still get that fat burning effect. So if you only have very little coffee and you're not getting that amount of caffeine, again, 1.36 milligrams per pound of body weight, look up the coffee drink that you have and see how much caffeine's in it, and then do the math. If you can get to 1.36 milligrams per pound of your body weight, so 136% of your body weight in the milligrams of caffeine, right? Well, then that's going to be a fat burning effect, right? Milligrams, if I said grams on accident, obviously, right? Grams of caffeine would be a lot. So, a typical cup of coffee will have anywhere from like 90 to 100, 110 or something like that, right? In terms of milligrams of caffeine. Some cups could be really strong though, and that's why I said look at yours. If you get a double espresso Americano large from Starbucks, that could have like 400 milligrams in it, 300 something. There are beneficial health outcomes with people that have more than 4 cups in a day. Pregnant women shouldn't have more than 300 according to the WHO, World Health Organization. There's mixed research there, so they should probably just almost avoid caffeine or have low amounts of it at least. And so it could reduce blood flow, right, to the fetus. That includes through the placenta to feed the fetus with nutrition, of course, right? And that's pretty much, the gist. You can't have more than 400 milligrams in a day, says the FDA. Okay, that's another regulation. Not that you can't have it, but that should be safe, 400 milligrams or less for most healthy adults. But you guys, if you don't have heart disease, to be honest with you, off the record, you could probably have more than that. Again, there are beneficial health outcomes with people that have more than 4 cups of coffee in a day. And these are typically go-getters, people that move around a lot and they do other things that are healthy and help them to burn fat. But that's, those are the facts according to the evidence. Green tea. What makes green tea good for burning fat? And how much green tea do we need for this to actually happen? Okay. Well, it would be 500 milligrams of green tea extract, standardized for EGCG, you'd want to see, right? Maybe 50% EGCG, okay? Or 50% you'd be looking for. And that's the dosage in terms of a supplement. In terms of drinking green tea, you'd need a decent amount. It'd be about 4 to 8 cups. 8 cups is the upper limit, they say, of green tea you should be having in a day. So 4 to 8 cups is recommended in terms of getting this fat burning effect. What is it in green tea? I think it's easier to just supplement with 500 milligrams of, that. You can even get isolated EGCG. What the hell is EGCG? Epigallocatechin gallate. Epigallocatechin gallate, keyword catechin. It's a catechin. It's a form of catechin, which is an antioxidant, right? A form of antioxidants. There are many different types of antioxidants, ranging from, polyphenols and flavonoids and all these different things we find in different foods, and zeaxanthin and astaxanthin and lutein and whatever, right? Quercetin. But this is something that epigallocatechin gallate inhibits catechol O methyltransferase. You're losing me. Don't worry about the name. COMT is something that breaks down catecholamines. You're losing me. Don't worry about the name. Catecholamines are dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine. Dopamine, we know. Pleasure, motivation, reward, happy. Okay, mood. Serotonin's happy hormone, right? Obviously, also. Norepinephrine, epinephrine, noradrenaline, and adrenaline. What did we say before about caffeine? Boosting adrenaline. Boosting adrenaline. It seems boosting adrenaline is a mechanism by which a lot of these things promote the burning of fat. You have a higher metabolic rate and demand, and you got to fight or flight, right? Which is epinephrine, sympathetic nervous system, right? As opposed to parasympathetic, is rest or digest. So anyway, it's raising epinephrine by blocking something that breaks down epinephrine. It's really simple, okay? So higher levels of epinephrine. Now it also activates AMPK. That's adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. So again, you lose, what the hell is that? Don't worry about the name. AMPK is a master regulator of metabolism in the body, and it's something that makes you expend more energy, makes your body burn things for energy, and also affects your appetite, okay, positively. And so, again, 500 milligrams of green tea extract. You want to get it standardized for EGCG, or 4 to 8 cups of green tea in a day. That was a lot. Those are the things that burn fat in terms of the supplements. We talked about the 5 things that lower insulin to naturally promote fat burning. And we talked about how being in a calorie deficit, to sum it all up here, doesn't necessarily mean that you're burning mo fat. And if you're in a to you. Had a disconnection in the middle of the song. I hope that it all went through. And many more. Happy birthday, man. Have a great one. Your day in the book of Wen Wellness. Who do we got on here? Say what's up to the peeps. We gonna rock and roll. Al Gray, King Reed, Omar, Josh. What's up, brother? How you doing? Devral, Jock, Cage, That Bull City, JB, Dave Beast from the East. What's up? I'll see you out on the battlefield in a bit. Time of life. Whitson, Malcolm, what's up, brother? Hassan's 89. What's up, young stud? Love and miss you, man. Alex, Isaiah, KD, Ash, hello, beautiful girl. That's right. I love it. Master of War. Check him out. _ Master of War _ Nick is absolutely unbelievable when it comes to martial arts, man, and his mindset and everything. I could just tell, to be honest with you, when I talk to you, that you have it all more than together. I mean, it's you know, it's great, man. It's great to see. You're a great model of health and mental discipline, and I want to share that with other people. So check him out. You know, it goes further than just the martial arts. It's a lifestyle and mindset. So _ Master of War. Check him out. I love it. I'm glad you like Super You. Sabia, what's up, baby? I'll see you Friday. As for now. So we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you very much. Go do some things to burn fat and be healthier. And happy Wen Wellness. See you later.